Hello and welcome to Stammeron with me, John. Today we're going to be talking about the New Balance RC Elite 2 and is it still good in 2024? Let's get to it. So there's one shoe that I've always wanted to pick up but just never had the opportunity, on the basis that I always thought it was a little bit expensive for what the shoe was. Now, been very fortunate enough through a local shop to find a brand new pair of RC Elite 2s, still on the pricier side, about £147, but I could not pass up the opportunity to own this shoe. So let's talk about some of the stats of the shoe. So this is a 7.7 ounce shoe, or a 218 grams shoe. It says 32 mil stack in the heel and 22 mil in the forefoot, with a full length carbon plate. The fuel cell in the shoe is a TPU EVA hypercritical foam, and it's a very soft compressive foam. There's a knit upper in this shoe, and I would describe this as a plush super shoe. It definitely gives you a little bit more in the heel. The heel counter, it's plush to a point where it's not too much. There is probably more there than the standard super shoe, and the upper feels quite nice. The tongue is a loose tongue that wraps around the foot, and the tongue, I found already, is a bit longer on one side. So the idea is that this wraps around your foot, and it does to a degree, but be warned, it does come loose a little bit. So if you hunker it down just right, then it does feel okay. So I took this on the plan was a 10-mile run. And again, because of the hamstring, I felt it a bit, I kind of eased back. So I took it on a 12k run. The run itself was a comfortable run. The aim was to do under a tempo pace, kind of everyday miles towards that kind of the marathon effort in the shoe, maybe not quite a half, and try to put the shoe through different hills and some declines, and really give it a good old test to see how it felt. So the average mile pace for me was per k was 3:59, which is probably a little bit faster than I planned, which is testament to the shoe, which the shoe at times felt effortless. So, and even though it was a 3:59 pace, my legs today feel pretty good. The hamstring still feels a little bit tight, but I think this shoe really helped the hamstring. A little bit underwhelmed with the shoe, but that's not entirely a bad thing, and I'll explain why. So on the run, the shoe does feel effortless. It felt compressive, it felt soft. There were times where I was probably hitting a 5:45 mile in this shoe, and it didn't really feel as hard as that. The efforts in the shoe, particularly on the flat, are fantastic. It's really compressive, it's really comfortable, it wants to cruise, and you don't really feel the speed. Now that's the downside for me, is where I struggled with this shoe is that I like the ground feel of the shoe. I like to feel the pace. So if I'm trying to run at a harder pace, I like to feel that I'm at that pace. So I like the ground feel. I like to connect with the shoe. My brain likes to know what the ground is up to, the feel of the propulsion of the shoe. And this is where this shoe does, for me, not that it falls down, it's just that it's not for faster efforts. For me, this is where I feel that I would struggle to use this in a race, on the basis that I like that feel. So I like to know what the shoe will do. So I need that feedback from a shoe, whereas with this, I don't get feedback. So it's a very a muted ride. So what I mean is that you don't really feel propulsive. You don't really feel the spring in the shoe. It's a springy and a bouncy shoe, but it's just that one feel. You know, when you get up, I personally prefer a shoe where you get up on your toes. You can really feel that spring in every step. With this shoe, you don't really get that because the cushion is so compressive and so soft and supportive. You don't really feel that plate at all. So for me personally, not that that's a bad point to the shoe, but for me, I was underwhelmed on the feeling of the foam and the plate. The transition, I would say, is not that great again because it's so compressive. It doesn't really allow you to get into that transitional phase. It doesn't really want you to get from your back to the front. Or for me, that's not something that I could feel in this shoe, you know. And then the downside to this for me is that there's a big hill, and I like to be able to feel that pace and control the pace, not be able to scale back the pace or be able to kind of hit the pace hard. And in this show, I just found it really, really difficult, particularly on hills. It almost forces you back into that comfortable hill, which is fine. If that's something that you enjoy, then you will enjoy the shoe. And I definitely enjoyed the shoe, but not as a race pace shoe. I enjoyed the shoe as a long run shoe, as a faster, long run, comfortable shoe. So this is a really good shoe for when you don't want to race, but you still want to do a long distance and you want to do faster paces, but you want to save your legs. This shoe is fantastic for that. This I can't express, even though I'm underwhelmed at the feeling of the shoe, the propulsion of the shoe. This is still a fantastic shoe. This is a really comfortable. It's still a fast shoe. You know, you can just cruise in the shoe and you absolutely will not feel the road. It saves your legs, and the overall experience in the shoe is fantastic. So if you are looking for a race shoe that you don't mind not being able to feel the ground and you're not fussed about that, you want something that will support you, it's comfortable, it's quite plush, you know, and you just want to cruise, this is it. This is a really fantastic shoe. On that note, please don't forget to comment about what your favorite race shoes are, and please don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.